Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I have a real treat for you guys today. Now, if you've been following my channel, you know that I've done a series on the best budget in-ear monitors, and I've always come at it from the angle of a professional sound engineer, a professional musician, looking at these more for pro stage use or for in-home mixing and mastering. So always looking for that nice, neutral, flat sound signature to get the most accurate sound reproduction of whatever audio we are capturing, right? Now, a lot of you guys have actually requested that I do a video on in-ear monitors that are just purely for music listening enjoyment. So not necessarily looking for a neutral sound signature, but something that is meant to enhance the music that we are listening to. And there's also one brand that comes up over and over again in the comments. So I'm absolutely thrilled that RevoNext has partnered with me and agreed to sponsor this video, so I can show you a couple of really good options for pure music listening enjoyment. Now, these are really high quality in-ear monitors, and they come in at a budget that will still blow away Bose and Beats and all of those other high-end, high-fidelity brands. All right, without further ado, I'm Dan. This is Guns and Guitars. Let's get started. News to you guys. And as always, I only accept sponsors from brands that I personally believe in and use myself, as well as brands that are willing to hook you guys up with a discount. So don't forget to check out the discount codes in the description. Also, Jeff Preston and the NEX602, I have no idea how to pronounce that. Since you guys were the first to recommend RevoNext as a brand that I should be reviewing on my channel, I'm going to be sending you guys the headphones that I'll be reviewing today. So go ahead and connect with me on Facebook, get me your shipping address so I can get those sent off as soon as possible. First up on the list, we have the RevoNext QT5. Now this is a pretty incredible little set of in-ear monitors, okay? They are just a dual driver hybrid design. So they've got a big 10mm dynamic driver to cover all the low end, and then they've got a balanced armature driver up on the high end. These are very comparable to the KZ ZSN Pros that I reviewed as far as design. However, RevoNext has definitely tuned these more for the audiophiles as opposed to professional musicians. And what I mean by that is that these have a very subtle boost in the very crystal clear highs, okay? We're talking like the 6 to 10 kilohertz range. There's a nice little boost that really helps bring out vocals and those more ambient sounds that you would hear in a mix. There's also a little dip in the low mid, somewhere around the 200 to 400 hertz range, that really helps to kind of clean up the low end and take all the mud out. And there's also a nice boost down in the ultra lows, okay? We're talking like 70 hertz and below, those real gut rumbling frequencies. And what this makes for is just a really beautiful listening experience. Okay, now, if these things sound so good, why wouldn't I recommend them to musicians and audio engineers? Well, because of that boost in the high end and that dip in the low mids and that boost in the low end, if you're going to be using these headphones to dial in the EQ of your instrument, what you're going to be hearing is not necessarily what everybody else is going to be hearing, unless they also happen to be listening to you on a pair of QT5s. Now, that being said, the sound stage in these, and thank you for correcting me in the comments, that space in my head is what I was calling it before, but the sound stage in these is absolutely huge, especially for a dual driver design. Now, I've read up on these a little bit, and some of the other audiophiles that have reviewed these said that they can easily compete with $150 to $200 headphones, and I honestly would have to agree. I mean, if you had written somebody else's name like Bose or Beats on these and charged $200, $250 for these in the store, I would not be disappointed. So it's shocking to me that these come in at less than $30, around $28, $29 at the time of this filming. Of course, prices are always subject to change without notice. It happens all the time. But don't forget the 10% off code down in the diddly-doo. So yeah, down in the sub $30 range, you get a lot of really high-end features. Okay, this thing is machined entirely out of aluminum, so they are very heavy duty. They look absolutely beautiful. They come with a very nice cable with a cable tie, and that is a very important feature for me. They also come with a couple of features that I think a couple of higher end professional audio in-ear monitors really need to come with, and one is a Velcro cable tie. They also come with a protective tip for the 3.5mm jack to keep that jack nice and clean in perfect working order. There's also gold tip connectors on both the 3.5mm jack as well as the cables that plug into the in-ear monitors themselves. And with the on ongoing development of different shapes of in-ear monitors, they not only labeled left and right on the in-ear monitors themselves, but also on the cables that connect to them. So you never have to worry about making sure you connected the right cable to the right ear and ensuring that each ear is never out of phase with the other one. Also included in the box are 3 different sizes of silicone ear tips. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos on in-ear monitors, you know I just say go ahead and throw those in the trash, because if you really want to get your money's worth out of these in-ear monitors, you need some memory foam tips. Now, my favorite are Znari, just because they are cheap, they offer excellent isolation and comfort, and more importantly for me specifically, their sizes run a tad larger than any other brand. So when I order a size large for my ridiculously large ear canals, they actually fit. Now, if Znari is sold out, Comply also makes outstanding quality memory foam tips. They just come in at a little bit more expensive of a price. So that's why I recommend the Znari ones, so check those out. Okay, next up we have some brand new in-ear monitors freshly released from RevoNext called the NEX602. Now these are a quad driver hybrid design. So again, that big 10mm dynamic driver to cover the low end, and then we've got 3 balanced armature drivers to cover the mids and highs. Now these come in quite a bit more expensive than the QT5s, but for good reasons. They come with some really high quality professional features. In addition to the high quality braided cable with the integrated cable tie, the Velcro cable wrap, and the protector for the gold tipped 3.5mm jack, they come with a very nice high quality travel case that is finally the perfect size for a set of in-ear monitors plus some spare ear tips. And speaking of ear tips, in addition to the 3 sizes of silicone ear tips, praise the Lord, they actually include 2 sizes of the memory foam ear tips. So you finally don't have to factor that into your final cost because they are already included. Now, unfortunately for me, again, ridiculously large ear canals, so I'm still using my favorite Znari brand, size large, because they give me just the best isolation and the best sound reinforcement. Now, if I were to compare these to a set of in-ear monitors that I've previously reviewed, I would have to compare them to the CCA C10s. Now, where these really shine over the CCA C10s is in the low end. The low end on these is much more crystal clear. Okay, there still is a little bit of a dip in that low mid 400 hertz frequency range like I mentioned on the QT5s, but there isn't that boost down in the lows. So you have a actually pretty clear low-end sound signature. Now for the mids and highs, they've really opened up that soundstage, focusing all 3 balanced armatures in the high mid and high end range. Now for me, the high end, I feel like they actually went a bit overboard. That high end frequency response that I was talking about with the QT5s, that 6 to 10 or maybe 8 to 12 kilohertz range, I feel like they probably boosted in these just a tad too much. But again, that's my own personal preference. Now, if you were using these to listen to audiobooks, like in public transportation, on an airplane, a train, or a bus or something, where you're trying to kill the ambient noise and really hear the enunciation of the words, something like this would be absolutely perfect. Listening to music, again, it punches those vocals through really crystal clear and very articulate. But again, this is my personal opinion. If you were to run these really loud listening to music for an extended period of time, you would probably actually tire your ears out having all that extra treble. Now that being said, the mids and the high mids have such a wide sound stage that everything sounds super clear, super articulate. You can pick out every instrument in the band individually, no problem. So again, these make for a really good option for audiophiles that really like to hear every little detail in the music that they're listening to. Now, would I recommend these for musicians and audio engineers? Again, not really. Again, for something like that, I would go back to the CCA C10s or the KZ AS10s that have a more neutral sound signature. These are for enhancing sound. This is so that you can hear every little detail of the music or audiobook that you are trying to listen to. Now, with all that information, if I had to pick a clear winner between the QT5s and the NEX602s, which would I choose as far as value for sound? I'm really impressed by the QT5s, especially for that sub $30 price range, okay? Now again, you have to factor in the cost of those memory foam ear tips if you want to get your full money's worth out of them, so that adds a little bit to the cost, whereas the NEX602s actually come with them. But honestly, these things sound absolutely premium at that price point, I think they blow away just about any other offerings that I've heard. I seriously think that these are better than the TIN T2s and the T2 Pros, and maybe even better than the T3s, which cost 2 to 3 times the price. Now, I'm not saying the NEX602s sound bad by any means. In fact, they sound really good. They sound better than the QT5s. But if something sounds 10% better, but costs 3 or 4 times the price, that to me is not a good value. You guys know the motto on my channel is spend less, play more. So if you can get 90% of the sound at 30% of the price, that makes these QT5s the clear winner. The clear winner. All right, guys, for more of the best budget in-ear monitor reviews, click that playlist up here. I'm Dan, this is Guns and Guitars, and I will see you in that next video.